Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing the rhythm section. This was based upon the novel by Mark Burnell of the same name. It was directed by Reed Morano and stars Blake Lively, Jude Law and Sterling K. Brown. The film really follows Stephanie Patrick, played by Blake Lively, an ordinary woman on a path of self-destruction after her family is tragically killed in a plane crash. When Stephanie discovers that the crash was not an accident, she enters a dark, complex world to seek vengeance on those responsible and find her own redemption. Look, this is a film that I was always interested in watching ever since I saw the trailer, and I know it's got a lot of negative reviews, so I was a bit hesitant going in, but it was a film I really wanted to watch. Look, overall, it's fine, it's okay. It's not a brilliant film, but it's definitely not the worst film I've ever seen. There are aspects to it I didn't like, and I just felt it was a bit of a wasted opportunity. It could have been really good, it just didn't quite get there. So I'll start with the positives. I thought Blake Lively was really great. She's an actress I'm a fan of, and this role sort of allowed her to play a much more dark and damaged character than I'd seen her play before, which I thought was fantastic. I think she did a solid job in that regard. I think some of the fight sequences work really well. There's a car chase scene that's sort of solid. It gets a little repetitive, but it's fairly well executed, and I kind of like that aspect to it. I like some of the way it's shot. I like that it's sort of a revenge picture, that it's sort of about a character sort of trying to redeem themselves, but also trying to move through grief, just in a violent way, just trying to find and navigate through the grief process. And that's sort of what I got from this film. I think Jude Law's solid in it and plays an interesting sort of character, a character that sort of was an ex-MI6 CIA sort of operative and ultimately trains her in the ability of fight and survival, which I really liked. And I liked the bond between them and how he pushes her and how she sort of surprises him with what she's capable of. I just felt there could have been more scenes with this and sort of build a bit more of the relationship, and the training sequences could have been extended quite a bit. That's kind of all I really liked about it. I think that what lets it down most is it feels very hollow. It doesn't feel like anything that you can really attach to. You don't really feel too much for her character, and you can't really invest in it in what I felt. Even though there were some great action sequences and there are moments where you can see she is dealing with a lot, it just didn't sort of have the impact that I expected. It just didn't have nothing for me to attach to. It sort of showed her family in flashbacks, trying to create this idea of the tremendous loss that she had that we're meant to feel for her, but it just was all done in the opening credit sequence, and I just felt like there were other films that executed this sort of thing in getting you to feel and understand the family dynamic of characters much better. Like Death Sentence, James Wan film, I think does a really great job at the start of that. What this film could have been, and I think it should have worked towards being more of, it could have been a lot like American Assassin. In a lot of ways, this feels like American Assassin. It's about a character who loses everything and ultimately has an opportunity to seek vengeance for what's happened to them and sort of kill the people responsible for affecting her life and hurting the people that she loves. I just felt that film worked with this concept a lot better, because you show the start of that film where his girlfriend dies, and then you see him working towards trying to find the people responsible and take them out. And you see him training and stuff. This film didn't quite have that, and I know it's because she was unaware that this was a terrorist attack. She thought it was just a strange accident. But I just felt that film executed things a lot better and really made you invest in the character. And I just feel this film was lacking. I think that Reed did a solid job with the film. I just felt that they needed a bit more seasoned director or someone who's worked with this material before to create something interesting and different and sort of tell a good story. I think it's too short. It's only like an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. It's too short for such an intricate story. Having the author of the book write a screenplay, I think, is a bad choice, because with the book, it's obviously they've got to detail everything, they've got to create a world, they can describe things in great depth for us to feel and understand who these characters are. And with the script, you have to strip that back quite a bit and just show basic things and to tell the story in a simple way with the ability to expand on the story or go into too much detail. And I just feel a lot of times when authors write screenplays, they don't quite understand the medium. novel writing and screenwriting are very different writing mediums, and you have to look at them in different ways. And I just feel there's been so many authors who've written movies that just don't quite work because they don't quite understand how to craft a script, I don't think, in that regard. Not saying that there hasn't been authors who's written really great scripts and created great films. I just mean that on average it's just a bad choice. And I think they could have brought someone else on who could have brought more out of it and sort of expanded it quite a bit and just made us feel a bit more for the characters than we did. The other thing I didn't like about the film is just that the character Stephanie's motivations weren't clear, I didn't think, in a lot of ways. Like, she loses her family and then she becomes a prostitute. And I can understand the drug use and the alcoholism and trying to escape the pain that she's going through. But it just felt like the prostitution was a weird direction for that character to go in. And all I could gather from that was trying to feel something else. It was like she was punishing herself because she felt guilty for not being with her family when she said she would be, and making them change their plans but not going with them either. Mate, for me, I just thought that if she had lost a husband or a child or both, that would have driven her to just feel nothing and to escape into this pain and hit rock bottom ultimately, which she does in the film. But I just feel losing her brother and sister and mother and father, like, that's a lot of loss, I get that, but it just didn't, the motivation for why she was doing what she doing just didn't quite make sense to me. Final thoughts. I think in the essence it's really about the grief process and the character Stephanie going through that. Yes, in a violent way. Yes, trying to find her way through it. But by what she does, by seeking out the people responsible and wreaking vengeance on them, it feels like she's able to move forward, that she goes completely through the process and is able to let go of things and move on with life. And I think that's the essence what this film is really trying to convey. Like I mentioned earlier, how this film felt hollow. Film felt hollow a little bit because the character felt hollow. She felt like she was empty and she just sort of was punishing herself. Her character felt hollow, so the film sort of felt like a metaphor. But maybe I'm giving the director too much credit here, but that's sort of what I drew from that. I'm going to give the rhythm section 2.5 out of 5. Like I said, it wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. It was okay, but it could have been much more. It could have been a much better film than it actually was. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please subscribe down the bottom, follow me on Facebook, and otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.